The steering head's all notchy, so when I pull that apart I'll just buy a new set of bearings for it. Other than that, it's just a matter of pulling the whole front end apart and on we go. The handlebar screw nuts, bolts that hold the handlebars on, just rusty as anything, so I just want to clean them up. I'm not going to, get rid of them, re-chrome or anything like that. I'll just clean them up best I can, then just dip the heads in Penetrol and that'll seal it off and they'll be good thereafter. All cleaned up, coated and ready to reuse. This is the steering lock, and I want to get the steering lock out. And I know these little things here, they're just sort of like little wedges with a screw pattern on them, and I'm a bit worried if I take that out I might not be able to get it back in again, or won't not stay. So if I just bend that straight, because it's like slightly cammed there, I'm able to turn around far enough that it'll just pop that out, because this is just held in by that lid. So maybe I'll just bend that straight and see if that lock pops out. Well, I bent it straight and it doesn't come out, so I just get a knife in there and tap it and wedged it out. Now I've got it out and you can see the pattern on the head there, the bolt head. But it doesn't pop out, so now it means I have to pick the thing. These are just a couple of photos to show how the wiring loom sits, so when I put it back together I know exactly where it sits, and so it goes back in the same place. Now, I tried to pick that lock the best I could, I just couldn't do it, so I'm going to send it into a locksmith and get them done for me. The locksmith got it out okay, so now I've pulled the wafers out and I've rearranged them, and that's where I'm going to put them. Hopefully that's the best match I could find for that key. So you can see it's sitting out there, they sit that height, all rearranged now. And when I poke the key in, it's not perfect all high, so I'm just going to have to shave the high ones down a little bit, and that'll fix it up. Well, I've shaved all my little leaves down, so I'll just go through how this works. Now, there's a little hole there, right? So we'll just remember that hole was there. The key, they're all, let's get it a bit closer. They're not poking down as much as they had to shave some of those off and stuff like that, but it's still enough to do the job. So key goes in, now brings them all back down now because the key's working. This goes in here, and I move that around, and the key comes out. Now because they're all poking up now, that'll stop that from moving. Now see that little hole there I talked about before? This pin, I won't do it now, but I'll Loctite that pin into that hole. This spring goes on the end here. So how that works is, because I've got a key now, that pin there would normally be sort of sticking into a groove inside the metal. Because the key's in there, I can turn that around, I can push with the spring onto, and it moves it to another spot, and that pin goes into a different spot in the groove, or different groove. So what happens in the end is that this bit does the locking, which is nice and thick, of the steering column. This bit just locks that in there or in there. So it just depends. So take it out. Whoops, messed that up. Take it out. That locks the key. Put the key in. Move that pin out of the way. Push in a bit deeper. Move the pin into a new spot. And that's it. Take the key away. So the lock's done. I just got to put it back together, a bit of Loctite here and there, and she's done. This is all that's left of the bike now, the handlebars and the carburetor. So I'll work on the handlebars and get that bit done. I'm going to take the switch blocks apart because you just never know what sort of condition they're like inside. And even though they've lasted this 40 odd years, you just don't know if they're going to last the next. So, and I've seen them, they corrode inside, do all sorts of strange things. So, alright, let's have a look. They just make these all slightly different for different models. They're all roughly the same. You can interchange parts, but that doesn't mean they're exactly the same. If you break a knob off one, that's not so bad. You can replace it. If you need to. That's the horn. I guess I should have really checked to see if it all works first, but been a while since I've done one of these. Let's have a look what you got going on. Oh, spider's webs, nice. There's your switch between your contacts for your indicators. I think that's just going to pull out. I don't know. More screws here. As I said, it's been a while since I've done one of these, so not exactly sure what I'm doing at the moment, but that doesn't matter. Hasn't stopped me yet. As usual, you make it up as you go. So what's this one for? This one is holding something down. Let's not worry about what, eh? Yeah, I want to get that out. I want to clean that. And why it's holding itself in place, I don't know. I'm suspecting that when I do get that out, that'll just come out. This block here, which is always the contact points, that'll come straight out. And I'll be able to clean it all. No, it doesn't want to come. It's coming. Ah, that's for the horn. This business here. I think it's there's the whole horn mechanism. Go on, you can come out. There we go, the horn's out. It's all corroded. Not too bad though. There we go. Bit of rust in the bottom there, so I'll have to see where that's coming from here. But I'll give that a really good clean. You just pop these sides out and then you can get in there and look at the contacts, see how corroded they are and all that sort of stuff. The horn I'll probably leave alone, that's just a matter of that coming down, touching. Okay, so what's going on here? Well, first with these. Just need to put a bit of pressure on that. These are plastic ones. I have had Yamaha make some really nice metal ones, earlier versions, but I've had a bike once where I like the look of the metal ones, so I got the metal ones and I converted a whole switch block to suit and rewired the whole thing. These are just so that when these go up and down, they just keep it covered, stop the dirt getting in there. This should just come out. It has no part of the electrical apart from these contacts here, and these can vary. These contacts can be like really long up to here and have multiple points. It can be two-stage. It can be all sorts of things. It can be longer on that side. They all vary. Now, basically, what that does is just those contact points as it slides around, touches on either those two are touching or those two are touching. Just depends on how it wants to be set up. So all I'll do is I'll just clean the whole lot, just gently, not wide wool, but just gently clean it all, and then just slowly put it all back together, all nice and clean. I haven't figured out what electrical, probably just CRC, probably. Be careful, these missing. missing. I might have another one of those somewhere. There you go, there's the triple. I haven't seen many triples. The other side here is just a ball bearing and a spring, and that spring can get rusty and that doesn't work sometimes. The idea of that ball bearing and the spring is that it pushes against it. Look, there it is on this side. And what is that doing on this side? Something went funny there. That ball bearing just goes from here, dunk, dunk, into that spot. So that just pushes against it, but keeps one spot, and also by pushing against it, and then so those contact points there. So why have we got a screw there? That takes that whole block out. That's right. Right, this screw here. This would be, whoops, a little bit more. This screw here helps hold all the switch block mechanism in place. And one more that holds all the wires in place. I'm going to have fun working out exactly which size screw goes where later on, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Oh, come on. Now, the last little bit. There we go. That all gets washed up. There's the contacts. They're getting a bit dirty in there. I'll clean them off. No corrosion I can see. That's a bit dirty. I'll clean all that off. This here, I'll flip these ends off and have a look in there. This here, I'll just clean it up, and it should still work. I'll just check it out exactly how the metal contacts, but that should be it. The rest of the time this is all dirty. I'll clean all that up. I'll get in there and I'll give this a scrub each of these, one of these lightly. Contact clean inside there, and she'll all be good. Put it all back together. It should do another 40 odd years. These are all the parts cleaned up. The metal parts are penetrol to stop them from rusting, a little bit of lanolin on there, and the lanolin will just go dry over the years. So I'll put it together with lanolin, penetrol, and dry lube for the ball bearing parts. That should be good enough. The wiring loom cleaned up. There's nothing wrong that I can see, so that's all good. Just make it nice and clean. I've finished the handlebars. They're all cleaned up. The switch block here is all nicely and done. The switch block here, I've done that one as well. Basically the same, just simpler. I've got new hand grips for it, but I've roughed them up, scratched them a bit of sandpaper, a lot of sandpaper, and take that new gloss off them to make them look dull, aged. These levers are new, and I've had those levers sitting out in the sun for the last 4 months now, and scratched them up a little bit to make them look old. There's a bit of covers that go over that. So I've conditioned the grips and that to make them match the rest of the bike. All the indicators, I've pulled them all apart and cleaned them all up inside, put LED gauges inside there. All this has all been cleaned and nice now, back together. There is a few little problems, like the throttle adjuster here is seized completely. It just won't turn, so I've just put this in place, and it works, but I just can't use that adjustment. There's plenty of other adjustments I can use, so it's not a big deal. The brake switch just fell apart. The plastic was old, it's all hard and perished, and it just fell apart when I pulled it out, and bits were missing, so I've got a new one of those coming. So new brake light switch, that's okay. There's a little end piece on here which doesn't list in the parts book, but it's a one-way valve, otherwise you crash the bike on this side and petrol's all coming out. But other than that, she's all done. She's all nice. All I put on here is lanolin. The first wash will come off, and I guess it'll start rusting thereafter. So I'm assuming now my maintenance will be whenever I wash the bike, I just run a rag over it. I certainly have to with the tank, so I'll just run a lanolin rag over the whole lot, just seal it all off again, and that'll be the life for the bike. Get it dirty, wash it, wipe it, leave it, ride it, repeat. All nice.